Vikas, thank you very much for the introduction. Because this is in the afternoon and because we've had a lot of presentations, what we want to do is basically have a conversation, and I'm going to remind you of the theme. The key theme here is fintech and financial inclusion, the perfect marriage. So you will be hearing a recurring theme of marriage and things associated with marriage. So one of the biggest challenges in the financial inclusion realm is that there are over 200 million people that are unbanked across Latin America. Approximately 50% of adults, those are people that are 15 years of age or over, have accounts, but far fewer, approximately, in the teens, have an actual bank account. So what I want to ask both of you, Dan and Vikas, how do we solve this? What is the solution that you came up with? And if you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Let's see, where do I start? So, when we talk about financial inclusion, it's something that we talk up from here, or people talk it in Washington or other places, but I never seen a person that is not financially included talk about a dream of him to be financially included. You know, people wake up in the morning and they say, oh, I wish I had $1 million, or I wish I had a beautiful girlfriend, or I wish I had a boat or a nice house. But nobody wakes up in the morning and say, oh, I really wish I had a bank account. I really wish that I had a credit card. No, I never heard that. I don't know if any of you have done it, but I haven't. So what we're talking is a basic need that people want to fulfill, and they don't know that they don't need it. That is, I need a place to pay, I need something to receive payments, I need a place to save my money, and I need a place to borrow money, and maybe to get insured if somebody really explained me why it's good to have an insurance. So what we're doing in Tienda Pago, with the help of Vikas and other people here, is we're providing a way for small stores to get access to formal finance. Basically what we do, just 1 minute, is we provide line of credit to small stores, abastos, changarros, colmados, depends where you're coming from, to buy inventory from consumer good companies, milk, chips, Coca-Cola, cigarettes, Pepsi, whatever. And they really want that. They never came to me and say, I want to have a bank account. They say, I need somehow a form to borrow money. And that's basically what we're doing, you know, in combination with the larger ecosystem.
Yeah. So Vikas, one of the questions that I want to ask you is, when you look at a particular startup organization, I'm sure there are things, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 things that you look at to determine whether or not to make an investment. So when you first met Tienda Pago and Dan about 2 years ago, what was the impression? What made them marriage material?
It was a beautiful summer night, and the sun was glinting off Dan's forehead.
And please do talk about the courtship period.
Just as a quick preface, Axion Venture Lab is a seed stage financial inclusion investor. So that means we try to support great entrepreneurs and startups in the financial services space where they typically, historically, have not been supported, which is this kind of capital gap in between funding from kind of friends, family, angels, and kind of more typical commercial and impact, later stage kind of growth venture investors that invest in kind of a Series A, Series B. So we come in with capital and support to kind of really partner with and get those businesses to the point of scale. When we look at a business, and we've looked at many, We have 30 companies in our portfolio. We've looked at nearly 2,000. So we have, as you said, a pretty strict set of criteria that we look at to decide whether or not we're going to invest. We are an impact investor, so the first thing we think about is this a product that is, or a service that is focused on a customer that we care about, that is underserved individuals, underserved small businesses, and is it a product or a service that is good? And that sounds nebulous, but you kind of know it when you see it. Is it a product that is priced well, that is transparent, that can lead to financial health for that individual? So that's the first thing. The other element of our impact mandate is innovation. I mean, everything we invest in, we want to be the newest thing in that market, the newest thing in the region, the newest thing in the world. So, because you know, every one of these companies we expect to influence the industry, not just their end customers. So it has to be highly, highly innovative. And then just the last thing is, like any other venture investor, we're looking at the kind of the unit economics, the addressable market, and most importantly, in terms of analysis, the team and the entrepreneur. And what we liked about Tienda Pago was that it checked all of these boxes nearly immediately. Specifically about the team, you know, we look for entrepreneurs that are that have experience with the customer, that care about this customer, and have proven it. The customer that they're seeking to serve. Dan has an entire career focusing on these kinds of merchants that Tienda Pago serves. That was incredibly good evidence to us that he could manage a business like this.
Thank you. This is a good marriage, you see. He complements.
And similarly, what did you see in Acción that made them long-term relationship material, marriage material?
Well, he had money. You know, you have to start with that.
I'm touched.
But besides that, as you know, when you're getting married, and I like the similarity that you're bringing, is you have to have similar values and similar goals. If you're going to deal with fintech, and the term fintech is very loose because you're dealing with financial through technology, but we're dealing fintech for financial inclusion, and that plus brings another set of value. Like Vikas said, you have to care about, you know, helping do impact investment. But besides that, you need the long-term view. This is not an easy road. You know, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of pivots, like they were saying in the morning, to find the right model and make the right impact, because we think this is new and this is great, and this is true, but when we take it at the base of the pyramid, for them it's extremely new. So explaining a new product to someone, it's very, very hard, and making it work and understanding what is their problems and their value proposition, it takes time. So one thing we like about Acción is the commitment and the term of long-term investment, long-term horizons in looking under this with the same optics. And really, for me, at least, is the shared values. You know, we're not here to make the quick buck. We're here to build the company and be there for the long run and try to make it as a regional play and not as, you know, solving and doing a small pilot in a place and then write a white paper and say, hey, we did this, it worked well, and that's it, we're folding. You know, this has to be a business.
So what you mentioned just a while ago, you talked about there were some difficulties. So Acción, I understand, invested about 2 years ago.
A little less than that, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where Tienda Pago was a year and a half ago to where you are now, it's been a road. So can you be very specific about some particular challenges that you've had and how both of you have overcome these challenges? And I leave it open to whomever wants to answer first.
So like many people here who are startups or fintech angel advisors or investors, the beginning of the road is always very beautiful. You know, you have a nice PowerPoint, you raise some money, you do some pilots, things work well, you begin to grow. But be careful what you wish for, because when things started working, then you have a real company. Like the gentleman in the morning said, government is hard. Running a company is hard. Now you need to hire more people, train them, you need more money to execute. And I think we have what we call the normal growing pains. That we're not in a pilot phase, we're in an implemented phase. We have more than 8,000 stores in Peru. We have more than 1,000 stores in Mexico that we started 4 months ago, and now we're getting many, many more. So now we need to build this company. One thing that, if you are in the lending business, that as we are, one of the key challenges is, for example, finance the balance sheet. That's something that is continuously growing and you want to do it, but we're a startup. We don't have 3 years of audited statements. We don't have all the balance sheet that we need to have. And Acción has been very good in helping us, providing contacts, impact funds, multilateral entities, and other people who are also interested in helping us to grow to the next level.
Yeah. Now that's what I would have said too, is we have, as I said, 30 companies in our portfolio. About half of them, like Tienda Pago, are struggling with this same issue, which is they themselves are early stage lenders. They are trying to meet capital gaps in their markets, but just like their customers, they can't access financing because they don't have 3 years of operating history. They're not break even themselves. They don't have necessarily long-term wholesale banking relationships in market. That's a challenge we face with Tienda Pago. We faced it with other businesses in our portfolio, and we've tried to focus in on that problem as an active investor.
So you mentioned just a moment ago that you, in your portfolio, you have about 30 companies. I have a few here: Destácame, Clip, Confío, Salud Fácil, and of course, Tienda Pago. So this is an open marriage. There's no exclusivity.
Yeah.
I'm keeping with the theme. So my question to both of you is, how do you see the companies in your portfolio complementing each other? You have been in this marriage for about 1.5 years. So the question arises, the status of the relationship. Where do you see this going?
Yeah. So maybe I'll answer the first part of that, which is it is a kind of a polygamous situation. That we actually see our portfolio being incredibly complementary. So not only do, as I said, many of our companies face similar challenges, which allows us to kind of transfer learnings among them, but they're actually complementary in terms of the actual business models. So you mentioned a company called Destácame. Destácame essentially uses new forms of data, new data sources to create proxy credit scores for underserved consumers in Chile. That kind of intelligence around new credit scoring could be really valuable to a company like Tienda Pago over time as they seek to better understand their customer. We have a company called Confío in Mexico that is an all-digital SME lender. The things they're doing around tapping into e-invoice databases, around all online acquisition, again, could be really interesting to Tienda Pago over time. There's real opportunities for cross-learning. We try to bring our portfolio together. All of our 30 companies, plus Quona, our sister funds companies, are going to be gathering in The Hague in June to kind of share learnings, talk about their challenges. So we try to be pretty intentional about making sure lessons are shared.
No, I'm not exclusive with Acción. Also other people. And basically, each one brings something to the table. Acción has a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge in impact investment and all the relationships that brings Washington and all the relationship that brings in this specific area. We also have another investor that institutional that brings a lot of expertise in financial services. And we're looking for more investors that, besides money, bring that knowledge of how to scale small companies to large companies, how to enter different geographies. You know, the problem that we're solving is not limited to Latin America. It's all emerging markets have exactly the same problem. But you know, it's hard. You know, how do you grow a company from one region to different regions with all the cultural differences, time horizons, and scale? So, and everybody knows it. It's an open relationship. We talk about it, and we eventually will bring more people to the party.
Thank you. I think the final questions that I want to ask both of you are what opportunities do you see? And I know during the break that we spoke about a specific challenge that you saw, and you used an analogy, a school analogy. So if you could please share that. And same question for you, Vikas.
Yeah, let me answer the second part. So, yeah, I see a challenge in general, especially in Latin America, with the fintech startups and all startups in general, that a lot of companies, foundations, funds are very good to make the initial investments. Oh, there is $100,000 here. There is a challenge here, and people win the challenge. And my analogy is, okay, I went from friends and family that were breeding me, and suddenly I'm in preschool or elementary school. But there is no middle school here. So suddenly, okay, I need $3 or $4 million. No, I'm only up to this size. If you want to go to the next level, you have to go to the next level where you're already profitable. So that middle school of startups is very, very hard to get in, and we're approaching fast that stage. You need, the teenager. You're a teenager, a rowdy teenager, and you need that school to teach you better. And we're running out of time, so I'm going to leave it to.
Yeah. No, in terms of the opportunity for Tienda Pago, I think Tienda Pago has the ability and opportunity to be the largest provider of services to small and medium-sized merchants in Latin America. Maybe I'll expand my response to the opportunity for fintech startups in general, which we continue to believe is tremendous. I mean, we've heard a lot today about how new technologies like the smartphone and P2P lending and blockchain are opening up opportunities. We continue to see that in every market. We want to support another 30 companies that are really that are leveraging technology to solve real customer pain points and ultimately provide them with financial services. The opportunity is 3 billion underserved individuals around the world. So we want to partner with you to help serve them.
Just to finalize the opportunity also is, a lot of the talks that we have in the morning, we're addressing the people that already have bank accounts. Oh, we're going to make new payment methods, but it's based that you already have an established relationship with a banking institution or a credit card, and you're already included. The challenge, especially in Latin America, is there are a lot of people not included, and traditional solutions don't work. The credit score for a person that has never have a loan is not there. So I guess what we are seeing is we're providing new intelligence, new tools, and new ways of how to deal in small amounts with people that there is no information out there, and we're beginning to capture that information and hopefully be able to replicate that along the value chain for everyone.
So I'd like to thank you, Dan and Vikas, for sharing your story about your perfect marriage. And I wish you the best of luck in the future years.
We have some questions from the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
First, an applause, of course. So, sticking on the theme of marriage, Dan, seems like you're being courted. We would like to have Tienda Pago in Colombia. When can we expect it?
Where is the regulator around here? No, we saw Colombia, we're having talks, but like the guy said in the morning, 20 investors, that's a tough rule. As soon as the regulations are lifted, we're willing and able to be here.
Vikas, a question for you, and I'm going to translate this, so apologies if I'm a little slow in reading it, but how do you see financial business models, or I guess, how do you see business models, more traditional business models that are based on cooperatives, right? The cooperativas, right? How would you translate that, Dan? Sorry.
Cooperativas?
Cooperatives. Yeah, cooperatives. That are not as dependent on technology in the past, right? But do you see that they're fit being for them? Do you see there being a fit for them within the fintech ecosystem?
Yeah, I can't necessarily speak to that in Latin America, but we certainly have companies around the world that are leveraging cooperatives and self-help groups and the like to essentially expand access. We have a company in Kenya that is a supply chain agri-lender, and they work through cooperatives, they work through trading groups, and ultimately they work through processors to get funding down to smallholder farmers. So, I think of cooperatives as a channel, and fintech doesn't necessarily have to be blockchain or some new. It has to be a new way to access and understand an underserved, understand, and engage with an underserved customer, and cooperatives are a great way to do that.
Great. The last question is, what type of children will you have? But we'll save that for the cocktail later tonight. Un aplauso.
Thank you.